Good morning, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. And this morning, I have a very difficult conversation for you guys to ponder, for you guys to think about, but nonetheless, it's something that needs to be covered and for you to understand no matter the relationship, whether it be with a significant other in a romantic relationship, or a relationship with your kids, or a relationship with your family, and even with your friends. This is something that you should think about and absolutely consider to see if you're going through it. See, most people think of a abusive relationship to be domestic in a sense of verbal abuse and physical assault. But in fact, a study by financial centers found that 99% of domestic violence cases also involve some sort of financial abuse. See, financial abuse is often the first sign of dating violence and dating abuse, and even when it comes with your friends and family members. Financial abuse involves controlling a victim's ability to acquire, use, and maintain financial resources. Those who are victimized financially may be prevented from working. You may not be able to go out and actually have a job because the other person, regardless of the relationship, wants to control you with the money, knowing that you will be restricted in almost all of your movements. And really, do they have complete access? And really, do you have complete access to money and other resources so you can do what you want to do? See, when you don't have money, the other person have the accessibility to going inside of accounts and doing everything they want to do with the money except for you. Now, the different forms of financial abuse vary from situation to situation because sometimes an abuser may use subtle tactics like manipulation, while other abusers may be more overt, demanding, and intimidating. But in the end, the goal is always the same: to gain power and control in a relationship. And I really want to get your minds out of a typical relationship between a man and a woman. This can be a man and his son, a man and his daughter, a woman and her son and her daughter, or between friends who may be living together, or sisters or brothers. I want you to think in a very broad spectrum because while less commonly understood than other forms of abuse, financial abuse is one of the most powerful methods of keeping a victim. And that's what those people are. And that's what you are. You are a victim trapped in an abusive relationship. Because again, you go back to research, it shows that victims often are too concerned about their ability to provide financially for themselves and also their children. Now, financial insecurity is one of the top reasons why women more than men return to an abusive partner. Okay? There are some terms out there where there are cases where men have returned to abusive women with money. We know that occurs too. But according to research, there's been more women returning to their abusive partner. And the research is not really giving us sex on that in the times and days that we're living in. Now, the effects of financial abuse are often devastating. Victims feel inadequate and unsure of themselves due to the emotional abuse that accompanies financial abuse, that comes along with financial abuse. They also have to go without food and or necessities because they have no money. Now, ladies and men, this has nothing to do with your partner not buying you a pair of Jordans. This has nothing to do with your partner not buying you a Birkin bag. This has nothing to do with your partner buying you a Mercedes or a BMW or a Maybach or a McLaren. None of those particular things, or a Gucci watch, okay? These are talking about the basic necessities of life. Because in short term, financial abuse leaves victims vulnerable to physical abuse and violence. Now, without access to money, credit cards, and other financial assets, it's extremely difficult to do any type of safety planning. You can't do no safety planning. You can't have a getaway plan because you don't have access to the money to save up anything. You don't have access to the resources to use like a credit card in case of emergency or anything of the like. Now, for instance, if an abuser, your abuser, is particularly violent and the victim needs you to leave in order to stay safe, this is difficult without money or a credit card. And if they need to leave the relationship permanently, it is challenging to find safe and affordable housing. They also struggle to provide the basic need like food, clothing, and transportation. Now, for some people, when you live near your hometown or where you grew up and you have a loving family around you, this is more easier than most people who probably move to the adjacent state or cross country, and it's just them and their significant other. This is more difficult when you're being financially abused because you don't have the resources to even make it to where your family is. You might have to depend on your family or friends to get you out of that situation. And again, I want you guys to think in broad terms. This can happen between two friends. This can happen in a son-daughter relationship with their parents or parents. This can happen between sisters and brothers. So there's many things I want you guys to look at when it comes to financial abuse because it happens everywhere. There's sisters who live together. There's brothers who live together, and one may be the abuser. But see, being a victim often have spotty employment records, right? Ruined credit histories. You can't get a credit card. It's hard for you to retain a job. And you may also have mounting legal issues caused by years of financial abuse. These are some of the ramifications that occurs when you've been financially abused and you may not even know it. I mean, consequently, it's very difficult for them to establish independence and long-term security. Many victims stay with or return to abusers due to concerns about financial stability because at the end of the day, most of us want a roof over our head, food in our belly, at the least. Now, overall, financial abuse is very isolating because victims often become financially dependent on their abusers. You depend on someone who's abusing you with money, and you know they're controlling the money, and they know they're controlling the money, but there's nothing you can do about it because of the circumstance and the situation that you're in. And then more times than not, a lot of us don't tell our friends or family members because we are what? We are ashamed. Okay, we are ashamed. We are fearful of what they may think and say. But sometimes you have to be bigger than yourself and go out and ask for help. Now, this particular financial dependence traps them in this relationship with their abuser. I mean, think about it. Without resources, they are unable to see a way out of their situation. I mean, it's extremely important that people can identify financial abusers before it escalates and strip of their credit histories and employment opportunities. You really have to exploit your resources prior to you getting into this relationship because a lot of times these relationships, especially if it's with a family member, a brother or sister, or aunt or uncle, it's very difficult to spot right away until you're living under the same roof, and then you'll understand that you're being controlled and manipulated with money. So you have to identify those things and get the hell out of there before all of your resources and situation may change. And sometimes you may not even have that, but you have to ask for help. You have to search and look out for those who may have looked out for you in the past, or you looked out for them in the past, and ask for their assistance and help. Now, whether it be dating in a friendship or a family relationship, there are some things that you can do to help yourself out, right? But there's things first before you can do to help yourself. You have to recognize what's going on with this abuse from your particular other. Now, here's some warning signs, and they're right straightforward. They're blatant. Trying to control your use of or access to money you have earned or saved. See, a lot of times abusers are intrusive. They try to invade on what you have saved or have earned and tell you what to do it. See, it comes very slight. It comes very minuscule. It comes in a very common way, like, oh, what I think you should do with your money is X, Y, and Z. That doesn't mean that everybody who says that will eventually become a financial abuser, but this is coming to some of the baby steps of how they do it, right? They come to you and they say, hey, I think you should do this with your money that you've earned or the money that you saved. Then they may use your assets for their personal benefit without asking if they have access to your money. Taking money or using your credit cards without your permission, ruining your credit history by running up limits and then not paying the bills, claiming to make payments or pay bills in your name but not following through, borrowing money or making charges without repaying it, feeling entitled to your money and your assets, demanding that you turn over your paycheck, your passwords, your credit cards, your bank account numbers, this, that, and the other, expecting you to pay for their bills or their obligations, using offers to help with your budget or financial decision as a cover for gaining control over your finances, requiring you to bail them out or difficult financial situation. You're using your money to bail them out of the financial situation that they put themselves in. Then I've been in situations like this where I was with a significant other, a female, and they've asked me to bail them out of difficult financial situations. And then one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, they're always in your pockets about money. And I'm not saying that's every woman who asks a man or every man who asks a woman to help them with their financial difficulties or situations. I'm not saying that. I'm giving you my personal account of what occurred in some of my previous relationships with me. Also, confiscating your paycheck or other sorts of income, confiscating your paycheck and controlling that, intercepting or opening your bank statements and other financial records, threatening to lie to officials and claim you are cheating or misusing benefits. These are some of the things that you really need to recognize early on. See, in any sort of relationship, the other person, the abuser, attempts to control your ability to earn money or gain assets. They are interfering with your income and or potential. Now, here's some examples of job interference, how they will probably prevent you from even trying to make your own money. Okay, and I would like to lean to the female side with this one. So women, please be cognizant of this, and men, recognize some of this behavior that you may be portraying. And the only reason why I'm using sex in this particular case, because statistically, this is more so women depending on men versus men depending on women, but we know there's cases on both sides. Here we go. Criticizing and minimizing your job or choice of career. Criticizing and minimizing your job or choice career. Pressuring you to quit your job. Sometimes even using children as an excuse. Hey, babe, don't go to work. Don't do this. Don't do that. Oh, we have this child. Oh, well, I'll take care of this. I'll take care of that. And these are the beginning stages. That doesn't mean that this guy, this woman has ill intentions, but this is how some of it occurs. This is how some of it happens. Telling you where you can and cannot work. Oh, no, you can't work over there. You should work right here. Sabotaging your work responsibility, harassing you at work by calling and texting and stopping by and popping up, preventing you from working by hiding your keys, unhooking your car battery, checking your car without permission, or offering to babysit and then not showing up. These are all ways how people interfere with you getting a job. So again, one of the tall tale signs of you being financially abused. Now, here's some other signs of how they can control your money, control shared assets and or bank accounts. I mean, criticizing every financial decision you make. Oh, I'm going to go and buy me some socks. Why you need to buy socks? Well, all my socks are worn. Where won't you sew them up? Like every single thing they criticize on every financial decision you make. Reducing your freedom to plan or budget. Making large financial decisions without your input. Refusing to collaborate on finances. Hiding or taking funds and putting them in a private account. Insisting you share your income but refusing to share theirs. Can I say that again? Insisting you share your income but refusing to share theirs. Refusing to work or contribute to the family income. Controlling or the purse strings or establishing unrealistic limits or allowances. Requiring you to account for every penny you spend. And they may even ask for receipts. Again, requiring you to account for every penny you spend. Having a double standard when it comes to spending. They may spend money on entertainment, down and out clothing, but criticize you when you make purchases. Without holding financial information such as account password, account numbers, and investment information. Limiting your access to overall financial picture as a couple or relationship. Withholding money from you or requiring you to ask money from them. Demanding that you ask permission before spending money, but not consulting you when they make purchases. Requiring that large joint purchases be in their name only, such as car loans, mortgages, cell phones, apartment leases, etc. Limiting your access to money, but not allowing you to have bank accounts or credit cards. forcing you to sign financial documents without explanations, making threats to cut you off financially when you disagree, becoming enraged over money, and then engaging in other forms of abuse like name calling or even physical violence, invading or refusing to pay child support, dragging out divorce proceedings in order to cripple your overall financially. Now, if you suspect in any sort of relationship, family, friends, significant other, with these tall tale signs could be a great way to understand you're in a financially abusive relationship. Now, there's all sorts of help out there. You can contact certain advocates. You can lean on your religious leaders for assistance and help. But there is a national domestic violence hotline. And believe it or not, this hotline actually helps you with these situations, and it's simply financial. Okay, again, it's simply financial because with certain entities that we have ingrained inside the country, we understand how one thing can lead to another. That financial abuse can lead to physical violence and physical manipulation and all other sorts of abuse. So for those of you who are in these situations, for those of you who know of other people in this situation, there's a national domestic violence hotline, and that number is 1-800-799-7233. Again, this is the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and the number is 1-800-799-7233. This is Financial Literacy 101. And with this channel, ladies and gentlemen, I try to give you the financial information in many different ways for you to live a better life, no matter the situation in which you find yourself. Because whatever situation you find yourself, there's always a better place for you to be financially. And this is one of the hindrances. These are one of the barriers that you may not be aware of and recognize, or you might just know the situation you're in and you may not know where to get help. Okay, I gave you the hotline number, but you also have other friends, families, and people that may be in your circle to assist you to get out the situation you're in. Don't be shameful. Don't be shy. Okay, go out, get the help that you need. Reach out to those who you know that will help you and assist you through this very, very difficult time. I want you guys to learn money and be inspired. You guys have a great and wonderful day. I'm out.